Welcome to the best of first-person episodes from Phantoms and Monsters. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads.
Cruise ship USO, Key West, Florida. My friend and I returned to our cruise cabin, went on the balcony looking at the water. Noticed a helicopter, then some birds. We then saw these white balls of light zigzagging in the sky, sometimes together in unison, other times separately in different directions. They went straight from the sky into the water and would just reappear back in the sky, even though we watched for them to come out. At one point they came together less than 100 feet in front of us, together side by side, still not moving, facing us. We felt they were looking at us. Then together they started slowly moving in straight line toward us. They came so close, we ran into the cabin, pulled the curtain and turned the lights out. We later found the courage to peep out of the sliding glass door, but saw nothing. It was so scary. We were the only people we could see who were on the balcony, because it was so late. We thought they would take us, and no one would know what happened to us, or would have thought that we fell overboard as we were on floor 7. I later looked into how many people went missing on cruise ships, and found it has happened many times.
Coast Guard cutter encounters USOs off Key West. It was the summer of 2000, and I was just a non-rate stationed on a 110-foot Coast Guard cutter out of Key West, Florida. We had enjoyed 3 days of calm weather and the seas were glassy smooth. Rare nights like this are when smugglers like to make a run, and we were sitting on a darkened ship on a known drug route, an awesome fishing spot, due to a massive drop-off underneath us. We had our radars set to max, our ears wide open and our mouths clamped shut. Sound carries like crazy out there, and sometimes you can hear the engines of a go-fast screaming before radar even picks them up. But tonight was dead. No activity at all. I was coming onto the bridge for the 0330 watch shift. Our JOD was checking the equipment for a pass down, but when he got to the radar, he gave a little WTF under his breath. The oncoming OOD came over to see what was up, said the same thing, then called our CO on the sound-powered phone. We heard him say, "Hey Cap, we have 2 contacts moving fast coming straight at us about 40 knots out. So we think we are about to see some action," and everyone starts getting amped up when we hear him give the speed. 400 knots and holding steady. At this point we think it's just a radar anomaly or some running rabbit's radar type echo. But these 2 staggered contacts stayed on the scope and their signal just got stronger. Whatever it was about the size of a cargo ship moving about 450 miles per hour and wasn't even leaving a wake. You can see a wake on radar, especially on a calm night. After hearing this, the CO is on deck in his bathrobe about 30 seconds later, just staring at the radar, and everyone is just perplexed trying to get a look in over his shoulder. So he sends us all out onto the bridge wing with night vision goggles and has us all looking out for these things. Every few seconds he is counting down the range, and right when they get to 8 miles out they simply drop off the radar. Boom. Just gone. Now both of us non-rates get sent down to the bow of the ship and told to listen for anything. See if we can hear anything or see anything or whatever. So we listen, and it's so quiet that all we can hear is the blood pounding in our ears. Then after not even a minute of vigilance we see something. 2 lights underwater moving fast. Coming directly at us. If we had blinked we would have missed them. In just a moment they had passed directly under our bow and we're gone. The best description I can give would be like 2 train lights moving slightly staggered, not too deep under crystal clear water. Maybe 40 or 50 feet down. The leading vessel was slightly silhouetted by the trailing vessel, and the brief impression I got of it was like the engine car of a train. Just way larger. It was over so fast I really never got a look, so I can't say much more than that about them. My fellow lookout and I exchanged a shocked look at each other, and he asked me if I had just seen it too. We talked excitedly about it for a second and ran back up to report our findings. After we made it to the bridge and started telling the CO what we had seen, the quartermaster shut us up, saying they had popped back up on radar. Sure enough, 8 miles out, there they were. Still moving staggered at 400 knots. We watched them disappear off radar at about 40 plus miles in silence. All of us just holding our positions until they passed out of range. Then the old man asked us what we saw. We told him, and after a minute of silence he just said, "Weird, radar glitch it is." Then sighed and went back to bed. After he wished us a good watch and went below deck. The COB, most senior chief of the boat, pulled us up to the flying bridge for a talk. He basically told us that there are lots of weird things out here, and that this is not the first time he had heard about underwater oddities from sailors, but was the first he had ever been a part of. He didn't say we shouldn't tell anyone, but he made it pretty clear most people wouldn't believe us if we did. That was it. The next night was just as calm, and we ended up stopping a drug smuggler with nearly a ton of product on board, and we all just sort of put the incident behind us and moved on with our normal lives. All I can say after 2 decades of experience in the military is that in the middle of the ocean on a clear night, and with a good set of NVGs, you can see little zippy things in the sky just about every night if you have some patience. In my years of sea time I've seen lots of odd things, but that night will always stand out in my memories.
Long Beach, New York. Unidentified submerged object. August of 2017, I was sitting with a few friends, all of us are between 45 and 55 years old, on the beach in Long Beach, New York, situated between 2 large jetties approximately 500 yards apart. More specifically, between the Franklin Avenue and Lincoln Avenue beach entrance ramps. It was a perfect sunny day about 3 p.m. or so. The tide was relatively low, so our position put us a few yards above sea level, and you could look down a few degrees over the water. As I stared out over the water, I suddenly saw a mist in the air just above the water, moving about 20 or 25 miles per hour, from west to east, emanating from what seemed to be a wire antennae from a submerged object. It moved straight across the beach about 100 feet out, and was way too fast to be any marine life. We see a lot of dolphins and whales in the area, which regular bob as a mammal would, and certainly aren't very fast. This thing moved dead straight and super fast, about the speed of a wave runner at half throttle. The water mist that trailed it came in so fast I didn't even have time to mention it to my friends. I was thinking, what the hell is that? It then did a 45-degree angle turn towards open water as it moved directly in front of me, and because of the angle above the water where we were situated, I could see the outline or shadow of the object in the water, and it was about 20 feet long, maybe longer, and shaped perhaps like a missile or long cylindrical object. It accelerated as it went further out, yet I could still see the dark shape as it headed for open water, the mast of the antennae breaking the surface the whole time. The entire episode lasted maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Weird. I would definitely classify this as a USO, unidentifiable submerged object, and can only imagine what the hell it was doing there. Observing human life along the shore. Recon. I know this was no fish, shark, whale, or dolphin. This was a machine that moved with purpose, controlled depth and speed, and possibly intent. Regards, Bobby.
USO in Paradise, Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. On the morning of Saturday, October 8, 2005, my wife and I dropped my 18-year-old daughter at school. It was about 6:50 a.m., and we decided to go to a nearby beach to wait for the shops to open so that we can have our breakfast. We reached the beach just about 7 a.m. While at the beach we sat on the concrete steps facing to sea to the west. It was 7:05 a.m., and the sun was already shining very brightly when my wife noticed something unusual on the water about 500 meters offshore, and she brought my attention to it. What I saw looked like a strip of white wave breaking on the water surface, and I told her that. However, instead of moving towards shore, the wave was moving across the water parallel to the beach away towards our left. She then asked me whether it was a dolphin instead, but I told her it was moving too fast for even a dolphin, and probably way too big. The white strip of wave, by my estimation, was at least about 8 to 9 meters long. It was definitely not a boat either, because what I could see was just a strip of water breaking on the surface and nothing above. Now, the beach that we were at was right in the center of a gentle bay, with the Kota Kinabalu International Airport about 3 kilometers away to our left at the end of the bay. The moving strip of white water was moving towards the airport at a speed of maybe about 30 or 40 kilometers per hour. After about 2 minutes and maybe 1,000 meters from where we first noticed it, a gray-white craft broke out of the water right where the white wave was, and it continued to move in the same direction, except this time it was flying in the air. From what I could see, I could not make out any conventional means of propulsion that I know of, no propeller, no rotors, no jet exhaust, and completely silent from where I was. Well, at the distance I could hear the planes taking off and landing earlier. This flying vessel was totally silent. It flew straight towards the direction of the airstrip, and it flew low, barely clearing the treetops nearby, and it went across the western end of the runway below the approach window which was facing the sea. After another couple of minutes or so, the flying vessel disappeared in the distance. It never headed towards the skies, but in fact disappeared somewhere among the distant hills. I really could not find any explanation for this sighting that both my wife and I saw. Unfortunately, I did not bring my camera, and I do not have any proof whatsoever of this sighting. There were also no other witnesses, although there were a few people jogging at the beach when this happened, but no one was looking out to sea while they jog. I guess I was too shocked with astonishment to hail any of the joggers to bring their attention to the phenomena. Can my sighting be explained as any conventional man-made or natural object? I have no explanation whatsoever.
This is Lon Strickler. If you like this program, it would help us if you would give it a thumbs up. Then subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notification when we upload new first-person encounters. We have many more to come very soon. And by the way, if you have a suggestion or an experience of your own, please leave a comment.